ask you, are you afraid of the dark? Okay, I'll ask you again. Are you afraid of the dark? I'm afraid because I can hear the beating of a heart. Shh. Can you hear that? You must think I'm crazy. No. It actually has sharpened my sense of hearing. Let me tell you a story. I lived with an old man in a large house. I was his caretaker. I took care of him. The old man was very nice, but something bothered me. And I think it was his eye, his blinded right eye. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing but respect for the old man. He was fine. We got along very well. He gave me a home. He gave me food. But I'm talking about that eye. It was the eye of a vulture. It was a large orb, pale blue in color with the shiny film on it. Every time I looked at it, it gave me the creeps. I felt like plucking it out and stamping on it. I tried to ignore it and not let the eye bother me. But when I was in bed at night, I would lie awake and I would think about that eye. I imagined how I just wanted to destroy it. For some reason, I had this desire to develop a plan in carving the eye and popping it out. So here's my plan. That first night, I stood quietly in the darkness in the hallway outside the old man's bedroom door. I stood there, looking at the doorknob, and when I felt ready, I very, very carefully opened up the door just enough to poke my head inside. I entered the room. Wow, the room was really dark. I waited until my eyes became accustomed to the darkness. I brought a light box, and it had a movable door in which I could shine a beam of light. I knew where the old man's bed was, and so I opened the light box just enough to see the eye. But the eye was closed. I can't carve out the eye unless I see it open. I can't do this. So I left the room. Every night I would stand in the quiet dark of the room, waiting and waiting for the eye to open. I kept my plan well practiced. I was successful in my own power to not make a single noise. Imagine that. For a week, I was proficient in never disturbing the old man's sleep. And for a week, I would stand patiently waiting for the eye. But it never opened. I became so obsessed that I decided that it was time to end the old man's life. That last night, I stood in the darkened bedroom, and I crept like a cat to the bed of the old man. I took my light box and opened the door, but I dropped the box with a loud pop. The old man stood up and said, "Who's there?" I froze. I did not make a sound. I did not move. I did not blink. I didn't breathe. I stood right there, frozen, waiting for the old man to decide that there was nothing there and go back to sleep. But he didn't. He was there staring at me, and I could feel that eye. And then I could hear a beating of a heart. Was it me? Was it the old man? Who? I imagined that the next door neighbors could hear. So with my light box, I said, I must see that eye. I must see it open. So I shone the light, and I saw the eye. And I screamed, "Ah!" So I grabbed the old man, and I took a pillow, and I put it on his head, and I held it down really hard and waited for the heartbeat to stop. Ah! Dead. I killed the old man. What have I done? What am I going to do? Oh, no. Wait. Think. I took the old man's body from the bed and dragged it across the floor to the hallway. And I dragged it down the stairs into the living room, and I was looking for something. And then I saw the wooden floorboards, and I decided to bury the old man under the floor. So I took a hammer and pried one of the boards loose. I took his body, and I threw it down, and I covered it up with the floorboard. At last, I'm at peace. I'll never see that eye of a vulture haunting me ever again. Yeah! Someone's at the door. I went up to the old man's bedroom and straightened everything up. I went down into the living room and cleaned it. I cleaned myself up to make myself presentable, to see if I looked all right. I approached the door, and I looked at the doorknob. And I opened the door, and there was a cop. 3 cops. "Excuse me, we received a complaint from your next door neighbor about a loud scream coming from this house. The three of us want to investigate. May we come in? Sure. Come on in. Welcome. Look around. The cops went throughout the entire house. They went up to the old man's bedroom, and they went up to the attic, and they went down to the basement. They looked everywhere, but they found nothing. So the four of us sat down to talk. I took a stool and I placed it where I buried the old man underneath the floor. So, what was that scream all about? Oh, I had a bad dream. It was a nightmare. So where is the old man? Oh, he's gone out of town on business for a week. So the four of us sat around and talked. We talked about the old man. We talked about the house. I talked about myself and what I did. And we were sitting there chatting. I could hear the heartbeat. The cop looked at me. Are you okay? Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. The heartbeat. I imagined that they could hear it. And then I stood up and I just started talking about the old man and about the house and about myself and what I did. And I paced the floor and the heartbeat kept going. And I started foaming at the mouth and I was swearing and I was starting to scream. And the heartbeat kept getting louder. I can't stand it. It's driving me crazy. Stop! Stop the beating. Stop it. He's here. I killed the old man and he's here. So I pulled up the floorboard and there was the old man's body. But his eye was open and it was staring at me. No! Stop the beating. Stop it. Stop the beating. Stop the beating.